Hello everybody, it's Anne from Anne's Stampin' Up. Welcome to another card making day. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Simcoe, Ontario. If you live in Canada and you don't have your own demonstrator, you can shop with me. You can reach me at stampsandtea@gmail.com, or my demonstrator website is stampsandtea.stampinup.net. So welcome everybody. This week we'll have a little bit of a different setup. There's nothing to show you in the catalogue because this is strictly an online stamp set. It's a new thing Stampin' Up are trying out, where certain stamp sets are only going to be offered online. Now that doesn't mean that you have to go online and order it. You can still call me and order your stamp set if you want to, but somehow we have to get you to look at the stamp set online, and there'll be flyers and things that can be printed out. We're also going to use a cardstock that has been retired for a few years. It's called Pretty Peacock, and they've brought that back this year because it was a very popular colour. There's also another colour that they've brought back. It's called Lost Lagoon, and it's a slightly different shade of the bluey green than the Pretty Peacock is. I don't have that to show you because it's not available until March the 1st. Okay, all these items that I'm going to show you today can be ordered on March the 1st. So let's get started. So the bundle we're going to use is called Hello Irresistible, and the bundle itself is $74, and it comes with the stamps and dies. The stamps are beautiful flowers, leaves, nice sentiments, gorgeous dies. The suite, if you were to buy the suite, is $102. You get the stamps and dies, you get some basic little freeform dots, different colours in all the colours that match the DSP, and you get the DSP. The dots are called frosted dots. The DSP is beautiful shades of Flirty Flamingo, Soft Sea Green, this Lost Lagoon, and Soft Sea Foam. Lost Lagoon, Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, Petal Pink, and Pretty Peacock. And it's gorgeous papers. The fronts are gorgeous and the backs are just as pretty. The backs are sort of a watercolor wash in a lot of spots. So we're going to use those today. Now I made a card yesterday. Oh, there's also, that's what I forgot, there is also a new set of embossing folders. It's 3 embossing folders for $41. They're 3D embossing folders, which means they give you a deeper impression, and they're just lovely. It came in a set of 3, and they're called Basic embossing folders. So I've labelled mine Basic 1, Basic 2, and Basic 3. You've got a lovely, really heavy, almost like a polka dot there. That's a nice one. You've got sort of a crisscross pattern, and that's what we're going to use today, so you'll see that in use. This one here I used on my my sort of sample card, and I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but do you see how you got these beautiful flowers around here? I'm trying to turn the card so that you get the best view of it. You can't really see it when it's down flat, but if I turn it so there's a bit of a shadow on it, you can see the beautiful flowers in it. And that's the one I'm calling Basic Embossing Folder number 1. Today we are going to use number 2. We're going to use the stamps and dies. We're going to do some heat embossing. So we've got a lot going on in this card today, so we need to keep moving on it. Let me think. So here are my supplies, and I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock because I had a piece of Pretty Peacock left over from years ago. You never throw anything out when you're a card maker, you know. We're going to use the stamps and dies in the set. We're also going to use the tailor-made tags just to cut out a tag for the front of the card. So what do I have for my supplies? Stamps and dies. I've got a basic card which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. couple of white mats, one for the front and one for the inside. They are 5 1/4 by 4. I got some Flirty Flamingo to cut out my flowers, some Pear Pizzazz for my leaves, they're just scraps of cardstock, a scrap of white for my sentiment. I took a 6-inch piece of paper and I cut a 4-inch square, and that's going to go behind the large circular die on the front of the card. And I've got this 2-inch piece which is not going to be quite big enough to cover the flap on my envelope, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you later how I can move it to the end and sort of glue it down, cut around this, and then we'll center it maybe on the envelope. We'll only do that if we've got time. That's just an additional thing. So let me put that there so I don't forget. That's my envelope. I've got all my parts here. So what am I going to do first? Normally you would emboss this part first. Let me think. Emboss this part first. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out of my piece of basic white first, then run it through the embossing folder because I want the pattern to be on the parts that are left. Okay, if I did this first, then run this through, I'm going to flatten the embossing. I think that's the way I need to do it. So let me think. We need a piece of basic white for the front of the card. I think I need to do my stamping first. So let me move these out of the way, bring these in. And I've got my heat embossing things to the side. I want a sentiment on there. I want a sentiment on here for the inside. Let's stamp a flower on the envelope while we're thinking about it. Okay, is that the right way? Oh, yes. All right. So let's bring in, we're going to do the Pretty Peacock stamping first, and that will be the sentiment and the envelope and the sentiment for the front. And then we'll do the stamping in white because that's the part we're going to heat emboss. So let's have a look. Let's see what we've got here. See, hooray, it's your day, and we're stamping that on here. That's nice. That's for the front. We've got a long sentiment for the inside which says, I couldn't be happier to have you as my friend. Not sure that's... Let's stamp it and see what we get. This is for the inside. And it's going that way. That's nice. We're going to stamp a little flower in the corner of this piece and the corner of the envelope. Oh, you don't want that one. Turn my envelope like that, and I've got my small flower. Is this my small flower? Yes. Corner of the card for the inside. And this corner of the envelope. There. Now I've put both my leaf stamps on the same block because I'm going to stamp them once, stamp them twice, and then emboss them, and I've got lots. And I need my flower, my big flower, and I need my small flower. Oh, we need a white embossing folder, and we need some Versamark. Get it all nicely inked here. And you got to remember, stamp the Versamark first because you don't want the colour from your stamp set to pick up and put it on your Versamark stamp, on your Versamark pad. I'm going to do that. And I know you can hardly see it, but wait till we get it covered in Versamark, in white embossing powder, so it'll really pop then. There, whoops. And there. Bit of that. And I need leaves. One set. My stamp. Two sets. Okay, so now let's close that up and that up. Bring in some scrap paper. Get these things. Let's have a look. We're going to use white embossing powder. And the reason I've got a piece of folded copy paper in the middle is because then I can just shake the powder off onto here and then shake the powder back from the paper into the jar. There, they look good. I'll just set that aside. And hopefully what I'm telling you works. Back on. Get my heat gun going. Now this is a fairly quiet heat gun. It still does make a bit of a noise, so you'll just have to bear with me for a minute here time I get this going. And what you do, you just keep moving your heat gun around and you'll see that my white heat embossing all of a sudden goes shiny, and once it goes shiny, that's when you know it's working. Bring in my leaves and do the same thing with my leaves. And that's it. So when you start off, once you put the powder down, it's dull, it's flat, but when you add the heat to it, it makes the stuff really pop, and the flowers got like a shiny covering on the flowers and the leaves. So let me just pop that out of the way. Alright, what next? What's the next step? Well, we got to cut some out. We've got to emboss with this. Let me just, how do I want to do this? I need a piece of white cardstock for the front. I have it here. It's 5 1/4 by 4, and I need to bring in my big shot, and I'm going to use the big shot, the big shot, because when I'm punching out flowers and leaves and sentiment, I want to do them all on the same pass. So I've got a piece of white cardstock, 5 1/4 by 4. I'm not going to put this right in the center of the card. I'm going to put it up a little bit closer, not a lot, but a little bit closer to the top of the card. And I'm just going to put it down, run it through and cut it out. Like that. And that leaves us with this lovely piece here Isn't that nice? It's so pretty. And that's why we cut this out first, because when we emboss using the embossing folder, we'll want these pieces to be embossed as well. All right, so then put that back on the card. So then we got to do some taping and cutting. We're going to tape these down. So I'm going to move that out for just a second. And we can do it all in one pass if we're careful. So we need a small flower die, the big flower die. Now you just have to turn these, you know, you turn them around until you get them to fit the shape of your flower. I think that's it. There. So we're going to run this plate through the machine all at once. We might not cut out the second set of leaves because I don't think we'll need them, but we shall see. So plates in there, and stagger your plates as always. You normally don't need to run it back, but I just want to make sure everything cuts on the first attempt, rather than having to try and line it up again. There. Let's have a look and see what we've got. Yeah, we've got one flower, two flowers, and we've got two sets of leaves. Do we? Yes, and we've got a sentiment. There. So we've got all of that done. Now this piece here is the piece that we want to emboss with the embossing folder, which I've promptly lost. Oh no, there it is. And for an embossing folder, a 3D embossing folder, you only need plate number 1, which is your big white one, and your grey plate, which is number 4. I think it says number 4 in the corner. So the big white one goes down. Your piece to be embossed goes inside. There. Like that. And you run it through. Spring. Let's get this out of the way. So there. So that just put a nice sort of a crisscross pattern on the front of the card. That's nice too. We've got all these pieces here. And we're going to go through a lot of dimensionals because this piece I want it to stand up on the card. Now you can use it whichever way you like. This piece, if you use this side out, your creases are all, your marks are all indents. If you use it this way, they're all raised pieces. I want to see the raised pieces. And we're going to put that down here like this. So I'm just going to take some liquid adhesive to put this down. And I'm going to put this about, it's only going to go, it's got about 1/8 of an inch at each side. Give it a good press. There. Now when I put this piece on my card, you see it's going to cover the edges of the blue, but you're still going to see this throughout here. So we've got lots of dimensionals. Well, we're going to use all sorts of parts of dimensionals. We're going to put some dimensionals around the circle because we want the circle to be supported. Right, now the fun begins, getting the backs off these. And I've just put all those dimensionals on the wrong side of the card, but we're not going to worry about it. We're going to go with it. And that one, I think they're all off. Look at that, in record time too. Let's put this down, so we should have about 1/8 of an inch all the way around the card. There. And that's nicely supported all the way around. You see, there's no parts that are sagging down onto the card. So we've got that. We've got these. Where are my flowers? Here they are. Could go that way, and the Hooray It's Your Day could go over there like that. We've got some leaves here that I'm going to stick right onto the back of the flowers, just like that. We might not use this one. We might put it on the edge of the sentiment. So I've taken this off the card. I had lined it up. I've taken it off, and I'm going to put some adhesive on the edge of here. There's my adhesive, and where's my little mat? Like that. So let's have a look. That's going there and that's going there. There. So they're held together. So my leaves are going to go here like this, so that the leaves sit in the corner. So again, I'm going to put a strip of adhesive over here. Fold it back so you can't see it. Just rubbing it with my fingers. And then when you turn it over, you can't see any adhesive at all there. And they're all sort of held together. Now I have to say, I don't like that small flower sitting on the back. So I'm going to peel it off. There. There. So those three pieces are glued together quite securely like that, and they're going to sit in the corner. And then I'm going to put these up on dimensionals. So we've got one, we've got two, let's pick another one up. But I'm also going to put adhesive across my leaves and just a strip across there. And then this is going right in the corner. Just like that. There it goes. Okay. So now we've got a sentiment here that is going to tuck in somehow, and I think I might just, no, I think I'll just tuck it in there like that. Yeah. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back of this, because it's mostly going to stick down. Tuck it in. Just like that. We put the inside in the card, and then we'll see what we've got for dots to go on the front. And it's going to go in here like this with about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. There. There. So let's have a look at these little dots and see what we've got. This is the biggest size of the dot, and all I've done is I've put a glue dot on the back, and I'm just using my picker tool to roll the glue dot back. Let's try a yellow. And again, I'm just using my picker tool to roll the glue dot to the back. There's two. They're really large dots. They really stick out a lot. I'll just put that down there. There. That's all we're going to do with those. And we've got an envelope. I've got an extra piece of card. We've got an envelope here. And we've got this 2-inch strip. Now this strip, as I say, is not big enough to go right up to the fold on the envelope. You got choices. You can cut that white piece off the envelope, or you could draw around this to shape it, which is what I'm going to do, and then trim it and then put it on your envelope. Okay, so I'm staying really close to the edge here of the envelope. Yeah, so I've got that. I'm just gonna, this is where I've drawn around it. I'm just going to take my scissors and trim this. There, so I've trimmed a little bit extra off. That's going to get glued down right in the center of the envelope, just like that. Okay, a little bit of a liquid adhesive here. And I've got to go fairly close to the edge, because we don't want this getting caught in the post office machine. Opening up my flap just in case the adhesive goes all the way through. You have to be careful when you put DSP on an envelope flap, because if you have a lot of adhesive, you can see my lines there, my squiggles where my adhesive is, but sometimes it soaks right through. So if you leave your envelope sitting like this, you're actually sealing the envelope. And there's your lovely card. That is a beautiful card. I'm happy with. So there it is, my own design. Feel free to copy and share if you wish. As always, just give credit where you saw, the card made. And if you sell your cards, please use the Stampin' Up Angel stamp, which just says all the supplies used were Stampin' Up supplies. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great week, and happy Family Day to everybody who lives in Canada. That's tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Bye.